Welcome to the Perfectly Flawed podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today. For those that don't know you, would you like to get a bit of a background of who you are and how you're here today?
Yeah, so thanks for having me. My name's Moesha Johnson. I'm a 23-year-old swimmer from the Gold Coast. I do endurance swim, so anything like 800, 1500 meter freestyle, and even a bit of open water, so like the 5K and 10K I've started doing. But yeah, I've just been swimming all my life, and I've done a degree before, but yeah, at the moment I'm just swimming and chasing that career path.
Awesome. I mean, I've done a couple distance events in my time. I can't say I've completed a 10K, and the open water is like so different to the pool. I think people forget that it is very different. Like it's similar, but it's also very different.
Yeah, it's like another sport. Yeah, I'm learning a lot, but it's kind of nice to be able to use my swimming in a few different ways so it doesn't get boring, keep it interesting at all times.
Yeah. How did you fall into swimming?
So for me, my auntie and uncle actually owned a learn to swim center at Burleigh. So my uncle is actually a swimmer himself. He's an Olympian. So yeah, just growing up around the pool, my mum worked at the pool with them. So naturally, I just kind of just hung around the pool growing up, did all the learn to swim lessons. Yeah, instinctively, I kind of just loved the water. Yeah, my mum couldn't keep me out of the pool all day when she was working, even on weekends in the middle of winter when we'd go to the beach. I was just the one swimming. So yeah, I just kind of just progressed, learned to swim and squads. And yeah, my auntie said to my mum one day, like, Moe, she just loves swimming. Like, you've got to let her race. And I just started racing, and I've kind of just fell in love with it from day one and just haven't stopped. Yeah, and I still love it to this day. Challenges and highs and lows, it's something that I'm still really enjoying the journey of. So yeah.
Yeah, I think most swimmers can agree with me when I say this, is that there's just this feeling like when you're fully submerged in the water, like you can't get that anywhere else. And you can't even describe it. It's really hard to put to words, but it's just this overwhelming feeling that it's just almost like a sigh of relief.
Yeah, so well, definitely everyone's going to agree with that. I think if we're a swimmer, we love it for a reason. And yeah, you've got like the challenges of the sport, but you've also got like, yeah, the beauty of it just as like a daily like release, I guess. Like, it's often described as meditation and things like that. But I think, for like, I get quite an active mind, and whenever I swim, it's a way for me just to switch it all off and process in my own way, but also just to be in the moment. I used to struggle just to be in the moment a lot, and swimming, it's in the water, it kind of blocks out all those distracting noises, and it just allows you just to focus on what's in front of you right now. And yeah, you got that, and then it's just such a beautiful thing. Like, I love just when you go underwater, that blue color, and it's just literally another world. It's something, yeah, if you're a swimmer, I think you'd really understand. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. When you say that you find it hard to be in the moment, is that something that you found like in day-to-day life in swimming both? And how have you managed to, I guess, overcome it and handle it in a different way?
Yeah. So growing up, like, I was always a hyperactive kind of kid. Even now, post school, post uni, I always am on the go. I'm trying not to be as much anymore, but it's always like go, 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 the next thing, the next thing. Sometimes you could probably call it FOMO sometimes. I was like, oh, like, I want to go out, I want to do something else. And always just, pursuing the next thing, or just kind of thinking about like what's down the line a lot more than what was happening today. And I think I made a promise to myself a little while ago. I was like, look, I don't want to miss the now and look back in 10 years time and go, wow, I missed it. So ever since then, I've kind of like tried to slow down and just make sure I'm really present in the time and space I'm in now, but also with the people around me. It's such a digitally driven world that like it's easy caught up online and forget that like you actually have a life here. Like social media and all that's great, but yeah, I've always just wanted to make sure that I'm here, I'm present, and I'm in the moment now, because otherwise life just will just pass you by and you'll wake up tomorrow and you're like, whoa, where did it go? I'm already like, wow, where did the last few years between school and now go? Like, I've done a degree, and yeah, it's crazy. Like, it does fly. So yeah, always just, I just really just want to be that person who can just really be in the moment and really just, yeah, just press pause and yeah, not miss it. And yeah, swimming, I've learned to do that in swimming, to like make sure that along the way I'm missing the small wins just because I'm looking for one big win. I want to make sure I embrace all the little wins and all the little disappointments as well, and embrace like that daily routine, because yeah, that's all part of it. That's what makes the big wins is when you experience those day-to-day small stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really important interesting that you brought that up, because I think a lot of us, I mean, obviously from a swimming perspective for myself, even just watching the Olympics recently, you can see that when they win that gold medal, whilst they try their best to soak in the moment, they don't let their emotions take over because they're already thinking about the next race.
Mm.
And it's interesting,
Mm.
like I've listened to a few books and podcasts about other people talking about it, and they say that because of the sport that they're in, you have to constantly be thinking about what's next, what's next, what's next. And you do miss those little things. It's like, how do you allow all those emotions to come in and be in the moment and feel all the feels, whilst also knowing that if you let it get too much and let it all in very quickly, that it can consume you and you not be able to rebound again for the next thing.
Yeah, so I think it's something you've got to learn. I'm still learning. But like for me, if I look at the whole picture and if I keep looking at the next thing, I can easily get discouraged. I can easily get overwhelmed. And so for me, like I have to make sure I stop and I pause and I'm turning up in that moment. Like I remember my coach saying to me one time when I just said to him, like, I'm so overwhelmed. Like there's so much to work on. There's so much to do. I'm just sitting here and I'm overwhelmed. Like I just want to give up. Like when I get overwhelmed, I'm the kind of person I'm like, no, that's it. I want to go to town. He's like, well, Mo, like sometimes you just got to turn up to swim. Like swim because you enjoy it. Like, and I'm like, oh wow, like that's right. Like I'm here, I'm swimming today because I like swimming. I'm not here because I want to be the world's next like number one Michael Phelps or Katie Ledecky. I'm here because I myself love to swim. And so, you know, when you're having those days, like, yes, you know, those main sets, you're chasing those goals, you're chasing those times, but if it's not happening or on those in-between sessions, it's like, okay, I'm here because I love swimming, you know. I love the feel through the water. I love being fit. Like, I love being around my teammates. I love the environment. Or like, wow, look at like this morning, like I'm up early before half the world is up and I get to experience the day before everyone else. And I think it's trying to combine those moments of like, yes, I'm here, I'm swimming for a bigger purpose, but I'm also here because this is my life. And like, I get to enjoy being here in this moment at this time with these people. And yeah, on the Gold Coast, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think it's so good that you said that you're there because you love it. And we definitely get caught up in little things of I need to focus on, you know, my pull, or I need to get this right, or my timings off, or I need to work on my turns because, or my start is, you know, my reaction time's too slow, all those little things. And it's trying to think about all of those things at once. It does get overwhelming, and it's something even I'm trying to think about more too. Is, I know based in Melbourne it's cold, but we swim outside all year round,
Mm.
and just the little things like, wow, the sunset is really pretty, or the
Yeah.
sunrise is really pretty this morning. Sometimes we see the hot air balloons, and it's just a matter of let's just take a minute, let's just watch them. Like, this is really cool. There's not many people that actually get to do this.
Yeah. So like in those moments, like whenever like there is a beautiful sunset or a sunrise at the pool, I literally pause my thoughts and I make sure I say to myself, wow, that's a sunrise. Like, wow, I'm so lucky I get to experience this. And I make sure I take note of it because, you know, otherwise one day you'll just kind of rock up to the pool and you forget that that's so special to see that. So yeah, I think, you know, it's making sure you take note of those special moments. And if you're turning up to swimming and you don't love it, well, maybe, it's time for the next, or maybe you need to sit down with yourself and remind yourself why you love what you're doing.
Yeah, I think that's really good. And taking the time to reflect, be like, okay, I'm here. Why am I doing this? What do I want
Mm.
to get out of it? Um,
Yeah.
because I found that for myself, I've been doing that a lot during lockdown is okay, like I don't have swimming at the moment. What is it that I want to go back to? What is it that I love about swimming? Why do I want to go back? What do I want to achieve? And sometimes it's literally for me I just want to enjoy swimming again. Like I just want to be in the water and just have fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. And, it's finding what you love about it. But I think it's also important to acknowledge, like, you might not love swimming anymore, and it's okay to accept that, that season comes to a close. I think sometimes people need to hear it, that it's okay to also move on from swimming, because it can be pretty hard for some people to move on from something you've done, because swimming's a sport you do all your life. So it's a pretty crazy one, and I've seen a lot of people wrestle with it. And if that's you listening to this, and you feel like you just can't find your love for swimming again, well, then it's okay. Like, you don't have to love it anymore. Just recognize it and move on and accept that you've been on a journey with it, and yeah, take that next step into the next chapter of life.
100%. And I think that's a really interesting point. And I think people find it almost hard to let go because they find that it's so much attached to their identity. It's like, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm a
100%.
swimmer, but who am I
Yeah.
outside of that? Like, if I don't have swimming, like, now what do I have?
Yeah, and that's something that I'm really big on personally. I've always kind of resonated with that for like the last couple of years. I've had to move out of home for swimming to pursue it to a high performance level. And, there's been times I'm like, oh, maybe this isn't what I want to do. And, I've had the conversation with my mum and, they've, and even like past coaches and stuff. And, you know, it's hard. Sometimes you feel like obligated to keep swimming for them, but I've freed myself from all that. And I'm like, okay, no, I'm swimming for me. But like, I've sat down and reminded myself time and time again that I am Moesha. Swimming is what I do. It's not who I am. And in the midst of it all, it gets really hard sometimes to remember that. But I'm a human and I have a life outside of the pool that I love. I have some great friends outside of the pool. I have great friends in the pool as well. But yeah, it's something that's pretty powerful when you recognize that swimming is what you do. It's not who you are, and that, yeah, you have so much more value beyond the pool. And yeah, if you don't realize that, then I don't know, send one of us a message, because yeah, you're an amazing person.
100%. How did you figure out who you were outside of swimming? Like, is that a journey that you've recently undertaken? And who are you? What are the things that you do to know that, yes, you're Moesha and swimming is one aspect, but I also have all of these other things?
Yeah, so for me, I grew up quite distant from like the really, I guess, dense population of swimming world. I wasn't in like the main areas of swimming. I wasn't in a massive squad. I had a squad that was pretty much just me by the end. So growing up, like, I had a lot of other hobbies outside of swimming. Swimming wasn't my number one sport, which I think is really important for younger kids if they are listening to this, or if anyone knows of anyone. For the longevity of sport, it's really important to make sure you've got your personal assets developing outside of sport. One, because you need that to be a healthy athlete, and unless you're a healthy athlete, you're never going to reach your potential. So for me, yeah, I grew up on a farm essentially, northern New South Wales. Just swam because I love swimming, but yeah, it wasn't like I wasn't swimming 10 times a week. So it allowed me that chance to develop who I was outside the pool. But I think everyone would go through this period, no matter how comfortable no matter how comfortable you are with who you are as a person away from the sport. But yeah, I definitely had to sit down and go, okay, like, do I know who Moesha is away from the sport? Am I relying on it for my identity? Because it can be easy growing up through high school to be like, oh, I'm a swimmer, like my success is who I am. And people don't mean to do it, but they often do associate your success with your value, especially if they don't know you that well, but they're like kind of like a association friends and not your like close friends. It's easy to accidentally associate success with who you are. And so I think just to figure that one out, I think you have to sit down with yourself a lot. You have to sit down with some really close friends. They can be in swimming, but my friends particularly were away from swimming. Friends who believe in you as a person. I also sat down with some older people, like more mentors, mentors of life. I call them my adopted parents. And yeah, I just think just embedding yourself in with people away from sport, the normal people, I think that really helped me ground myself that I am a human being and it's okay to be a human being. And success at the end of the day, it comes and goes, but life is constant. Like, you know, your success, like at the Olympics, it's what, they're on the podium for like 3 minutes maybe, but you know, you still got to come home, you've got to see family, you've got to see friends, and you've got to get back in the pool maybe. And it's the bigger picture that you've got to realize that, yeah, like I'm working towards success, but that 3 minutes is not who I am. It's the 3 years before that. That's who I really am. So I think it will look different for every single person, but yeah, it's in those quiet moments by yourself. It can be uncomfortable sitting by yourself in silence, or even just thinking. But yeah, if you keep busy and if you keep the noise around you, you might not find who you are. You might just be influenced by everyone around you and not be able to discover that for yourself. And yeah, I think for me, a big thing I've had to learn is how to sit down and process things. I wasn't very good at processing things, especially like because I wasn't in the present. I just keep moving on to the next thing. And yeah, processing is a hard one. I think, especially for me, I'm not like naturally an emotional person. Sometimes I don't know why I'm not as emotional as some other people, but I have to sit down, I have to think about it, and I have to process it to make sure that I'm actually experiencing what I'm going through and understanding what I'm going through. Otherwise it bottles up, and or I miss the moment because I haven't experienced it for what it's meant to be.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think a really important thing for anyone that's listening to remember is that your achievements and what you accomplish may fluctuate, but your value never does.
Yeah, 100%. Like you're a person, and yeah, we value you. Like, if you don't believe it, yep, send us one of us a message, and like, yeah, you are so valued.
100%. I couldn't agree more. I'd love to know then, when you are having an off day, what does that look like and how do you then implement things to feel better?
Yeah, so for me, my off day is it's just normally this feeling of like I just feel flat, I feel uninspired, I feel unmotivated, and just discouraged. They're often the feelings I feel when I'm having an off day, and sometimes I don't recognize that that's what I'm feeling at first. Sometimes I just wake up and I just am like, oh, like I don't know what I want to do with my day today, or like I don't know what I'm trying to achieve, and it can take me a little while to figure out that I am feeling off, and it's because I'm feeling just flat or unmotivated. And so for me, I have to actually process what I'm feeling. I have to sit down and recognize that I am feeling off. And from there, it's accepting that I'm having an off day, and that's okay. And from there, like, yeah, it depends. Like if I'm feeling off because of something in my sport, or if I'm feeling off because of a situation in life, or if I'm feeling off because I'm just overwhelmed with so many jobs to do, then yeah, it depends on how I approach those times. If it's swimming, I will go straight to my coach, or a teammate that I really trust, and I'll talk to them about it, because sometimes you feel like you're the only one who's going through it, and it just feels like you're pretty alone, but there's always someone else out there who's been through it. You're not alone. So make sure like you talk to someone, if it's to do with sports, especially. Your coach is always ready to listen. I think the important thing there is, for me, I struggle to start the conversation. So my hot tip to anyone out there, if you're someone like me and you struggle to start the conversation, just send them a text and just be like, I need to either have a meeting with you regarding these points or these particular points. Like, I don't know what to do with this right now, but like, I need to put it out there because I can't start this conversation face to face with you. But yeah, if it's just in life in general, if I'm having an off day, then yeah, sometimes I'll just let myself just take a rest day, and sometimes it's just mental fatigue and I just need to sit at home and do nothing. Or sometimes the very thing I need to do is not sit at home. So I get out and just go for a drive sometimes and go sit at the beach. We're pretty lucky we can go sit at the beach in the car park. I don't even have to get out of my car and I can just sit there, and I just love just to watch people walk past their dogs and just watch the afternoon pass by. And that for me is just a way of just sitting there processing and just kind of resetting. If I've had enough alone time, then the other thing I'll do is I'll message, like, I have 2 or 3 really close friends that I'll reach out to and be like, look, can we get a coffee? Like, or can we just like go to the beach together? Like, I just need to have a day with someone that understands that I'm just not feeling great today.
Yeah, I think they're all really great things to do. And I think everyone can either trial those and see if it works for them. But I think it's also really important to remember that that is something that you do and it won't necessarily work for
Yeah.
everybody. They can always find, I mean, it might work for them, but just trialing to see what works. If that means,
I think on that, like for me, like, especially as an athlete, I think this is a really important thing, and to find your space with it. But the concept for me is remembering to enjoy the simple things in life, that like at the end of the day, like, your success comes and goes, your failures come and go. Not that I agree that the word failure is relevant, but it's the small things in life that are there constantly. Like, you know, every day, like for me, I live at the beach pretty much. So like the beach is a constant, you know, my daily coffee is a constant, my family is a constant. And it's those simple things, finding enjoyment in those small day-to-day things. If I can't find enjoyment in those, then that's when I've really got to, you know, pause and be like, okay, Mo, like, what's going on? Like, if you can't enjoy these simple things, then like something's not right, because that's kind of like what life is about, is these day-to-day things. And if you're not enjoying it, then maybe you need to find a new routine that you do enjoy. So yeah, that for me, like, just finding for you, like, just the simple day-to-day things that you enjoy, is what I'd really suggest for people.
yeah, absolutely. And just trial things like, you know, that might be sitting down and watching a movie on Netflix or going for a walk, going to the beach, seeing a friend. It's different for everyone, but it's important to trial those things so that you know for next time what does work for you.
Yeah, 100%.
What would you say then has been one of your biggest setbacks or challenges that you've had to face, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, so for me, I think as an athlete, there's no one setback, there's a few. So for me, there's a few that come to mind. It was the main one that comes to mind for me is just the self-doubt I had, believing that I could actually take it to a high level. So like I was saying earlier, I trained pretty much by myself, because I grew up in northern New South Wales. There wasn't any high performance down there, so I traveled to South Gold Coast every day to train. But even then, there was no one really there by the end. So I was training by myself, and even though I was doing the work, I didn't believe that I could kind of take it on with the girls just above me. So yeah, like coming from like an age group similar into open swimming, I really struggled with just, yeah, kind of just believing that I could actually like take them on and take on the world, and I guess just get to that high performance level. And you know, for me, like my coach then retired and I had to move. I tried moving within a distance of where I was living, but eventually I had to decide to move out of home to pursue it. And it's just making it, for me, it was making that partnership with my coach. It was getting the opportunity then to train with girls who I knew were succeeding at that high level, and I exposed myself to racing them daily in training, on camps and different things. I raced them all, but I think for me, even before I got the opportunity to train with people like that, I had to really sit down and have quite a few combos with myself and my mom or my support crew around me, and be like, why didn't I believe that I could do it? Like I was doing the work, but I just would psych myself out coming to racing. And I guess you could call it performance anxiety. I'm not sure if that's quite it, but it was kind of something like that where I just would get up behind the blocks and just really not perform to the level I could, because I just didn't think I guess I just didn't think I could do it. So and especially having a coach who was a bit alternative at the time. I didn't really have a lot of support from like my state or like Swimming Australia. Like they was helping me, but like I just felt like I was lacking a little bit of that because I was a bit regional. So sometimes you feel like just no one was backing you. But at the end of the day, when I sat down, I was like, well, what does it matter if you don't perform to the level that you can? Like at the end of the day, like I'm here to swim because I love swimming, and if I'm not performing, then so be it. Like I shouldn't be worrying about that. Like the people who are my support crew, they are going to love and value me no matter how well I swim. And if they don't, well, then maybe I've got the wrong friends or something like that. But I think for me, I had to learn to believe in myself that I could do it. And that was probably like the biggest thing that off the top of my head that I can think of, is just that personal journey of realizing that you can do it if you put your mind to it.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good thing to know, and it's something that I've definitely struggled with too, is that self-belief, and it can really hold you back if you don't find a way to either 100% move past it, or even just find a way to work through it, even if it's with yourself, friends, family, your coach. It's a really important skill to be able to implement.
Yeah, because I think self-belief, you can know that you've done the training, but sometimes, especially if you're a regional swimmer like I was, you just have no guide to what your training is. You don't know if it's to like what the others are doing. And so I psyched myself out a lot about that. But I think you also got the self-doubt when it comes to even just, have I got the right gear? Like I'm so out of touch with what's the new trending like racing suit or goggles, or I don't know, like I think as a girl as well, it comes down to that self-belief in just who you are on pool deck, let alone who you are as a competitor. And I think for me, and probably a lot of girls, it's figuring out that like, it's not a comparison. Like you are who you are on pool deck, you are who you are as a competitor, and don't try and be anyone else. Like, because it's very hard in sport, like you're constantly comparing yourself to times, you're constantly comparing yourself to your competitors, so it's hard not to compare yourself then as a human being as well. So I think for me, it's just like, I have to stop looking at the person next to me. I have to stop looking at the times next to me. Even me watching the Olympics, I watched it and I got so overwhelmed because I started comparing myself to the times. It's like, Mo, like, no, stop. That's not you just yet. Like you're here. Look at all the successes you've had to make it here. Look at the improvement you've had. Like that's no representation of the time compared to the Olympians. It's a representation of the time compared to yourself. And I think that's the really cool thing about swimming, is it's a sport where, yes, you're competing against others, but it's actually a really personal sport where most of the time you're just competing against yourself, which I'd actually say 99.999% of the time, it's a sport where you're competing against yourself. In your mind, physically, like in times, like it's all against you. And so I just had to learn to put the blinkers on. My lane is my lane. Yes, there's girls around me, but when I dive into a race, I don't know their names. I don't know who they are. I don't know what times they swim. I'm just going to get in and I'm going to race to race. This last year particularly, like I've learned to race, not get caught up in strategic plans. I just get in now, and I just have taken it back to basics of racing like I guess an age group swimmer, where I just race the race for what it is. And I think that was a big thing transitioning from age group swimming to open swimming, was suddenly the big difference is your mind gets involved. I think we see it a lot with age group swimmers who do or don't progress into open swimming, is the next element is the mind. And yeah, sometimes racing gets too complicated and you think about it too much. But for me, it was just like, okay, like let's just stop thinking about it. Let's just get in, let's race. Yeah, and don't worry about the person beside you. Just take it on yourself.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And speaking of comparisons, and I think, I mean, I don't know from a men's perspective, but as a female, comparing just seems to be at the forefront of our mind in all aspects. What kind of
Mm.
impact would you say that social media has?
Yeah, so social media, I think, yeah, it's a huge impact. I think on any young female. I think it is an impact on men, but I think the way the female brain works is definitely something that's at the forefront of our mind. And social media as an athlete, we kind of need it for endorsement and sponsorship potential, or to support any current potential. I mean, any current sponsorship that you have, you need social media. And not just as an athlete, but just it's just how the modern day works. If you don't have social media, you're a bit weird, you know? So you kind of have to learn to live with it. But it's something for me that I've wrestled a lot with the last probably 18 months is social media. Because whether you want to or not, scrolling on Instagram, scrolling on wherever you scroll, your brain will automatically be comparing it, whether you are aware of it or not. The science is backing that now. So for me, I've had to really take a rain check on it. I now go off social media when I feel like my thoughts become really heavy and comparative to people around me. If I'm feeling like my self-values drop, then that's why I will be like, oh, okay, maybe it is social media. And more often than not, it actually is social media that starts driving me down those paths. So I've just learned to stay on hiatuses. I will just drop off for a week, drop off for a couple months, whatever I need. I'll just deactivate it for a certain period of time. Because my close friends, they have my mobile number. If they really want to reach me, they can reach me on it, like in other ways. So yeah, if I drop off for a while, it's normally because I'm just taking time for myself. And I think it's something that's really underrated at the moment, but I think it would be something that would be cool to see more of, is people taking breaks from social media. Not just a break where like you're not active, but like a break where it's not on your phone. Because it is something that I think messes with your brain more than we're even like aware. And so I actually get rid of the apps off my phone, because after a while I find that I'm automatically just clicking on them and it opens up, and I don't even want to be on Instagram, but I'm on Instagram. So yeah, I just take a break from it every now and then. It's pretty powerful what it can do for your self-esteem, to be honest. It's a little bit scary how powerful it is. But then when I come back onto it, I always do it quite controlled. I often unfollow a lot of things. And it's not normally nothing against people in particular, but for me, like, I have to be careful what I follow, because I know that I'm sensitive to comparison, and sometimes it's hard to admit that, but like, yes, I'm someone who's going to scroll through Instagram and start comparing myself to other girls or other athletes or other lifestyles, whether I want to or not. So yeah, for me, it's just, okay, like, what you're following actually enhancing and growing you as a person? And if not, then you might have to make the hard call to unfollow it or get rid of it out of your life in some way. Social media is powerful, but it's also, most of the time, it can be quite controlling of who you are.
Absolutely. And I think it's interesting how you say about taking the app off completely, because I find that, I just, like, my fingers, they just know where to go. They just go on autopilot and they just click on it and it just start scrolling. I'm like, oh my God, where'd that last half an hour go? You're just
Yeah.
mindlessly scrolling, and it's not even necessarily because you wanted to. It's just it's just ingrained. It's just a habit of something that you do. And taking that break can be really good to just take a step back, reflect. And I definitely do like a cleanse of unfollowing people that don't make me feel good. And it's not necessarily that they post anything bad, it's just I compare myself way too much and it's just not
Yeah.
necessary. So it's like,
Yeah.
you're a great person, you post really great things, but it's just not great for me mentally. And I need to
Yeah.
follow somebody else that makes me feel good.
Yeah. And I think that's the hard part. Like I guilt trip myself to follow people. I'm like, well, like it actually sucks for you guys that I have to unfollow you, but it's not to do with you. It's just the fact that I actually need to do this for myself. And sometimes it's realizing like I'm instinctively someone who just wants to try and be friends with everyone, but like sometimes following them back isn't what's best for me. And I've got to remember that sometimes I've got to put me first. And I can be a better friend to certain people if I am not following certain content simply because then once I'm healthy in myself, I can then be a healthy friend to others. And yeah, it's a strange one, and it's one that I would love to see more people recognizing, because it's hard to recognize that social media has got that power over you, and it sucks to admit it sometimes because it's like no, social media doesn't affect me, like I'm cool with it, but at the end of the day I think if we all looked at it, it does affect us in some way.
Yeah. And I think it's also important for people to remember that putting yourself first isn't selfish, because if you're not okay, then your ability to help somebody else isn't going to be where it
Yeah.
could be.
Yeah, 100%. And like that's something I was like, well, I want to help people, but like I felt selfish when I was trying to help myself. And that's something I really had to learn, was like, no, Mo, like you've got to help yourself. Because like, yeah, like you said, until I'm healthy and like, I'm okay, how the hell am I going to help someone else if I'm pouring from an empty tank? Like I've got to make sure I'm full, I'm healed, like my soul is full and healed before I can help people. Otherwise, I'm just going to accidentally drag people down into my mess, whether I want them to, like whether I want to or not. So yeah, it's definitely making sure that you're okay. And yeah, if you're not, then it's definitely take that time for yourself. It's actually, yeah, people will respect you more for it. People will stand you for it as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. On a different note, what do you think has been one of your biggest achievements in or out of sport?
Um, wow, that's a big one, out of sport. For me, I think it was, I'll say around sport, because I think for me, it was choosing to do swimming for me and choosing to pursue swimming, even though like I haven't been on the cusp of anything big for a while. Like I moved out of home for it. I'm still swimming as a 23-year-old. And I haven't reached my potential yet, which a lot of people, they start looking around 18 and 20 if they're going to, make an Olympic team. But for me, like, it was believing that, like, I have more to give. Yes, I've done a degree, but like, I've got the rest of my life to study. So it was to be able to make that decision for myself and not let anyone, and not let the pressure of society and pressure of having like a sturdy career path make the decision for me. It was being able to say, no, I'm going to swim. I believe that I've got more to give. This is something that I want to do. And yeah, like I decided it for myself. My mum didn't decide it. My coach didn't decide it. I decided it. And yeah, here I am today. I've just had like one of the biggest seasons of my life where I've just, done some amazing times and achieved some pretty crazy things. And I think for me, like it's seeing that I actually have got more to give. I'm just a late bloomer, which in sport we're starting to see more of that. And yeah, I think I'm pretty proud of that. I'm proud that I've, made, I've done a degree, and like a bunch of different things, but I've pursued it. Yeah, I've pursued what I thought that I could do, and haven't let anyone kind of make the decisions for me or pressure me into doing things that I don't want to do.
I can relate to that so much. I mean, I'm the same age, and I've found too is that people kind of assume that when you get to this age, or even as you said, late teens, early 20s, is that you're supposed to be at a certain point in your swimming career. And
Mm-hmm.
if you're not, then why are you still in the sport? And
Yeah.
it's like, well, you see athletes that are still competing and succeeding with their career that are in their late 20s and early 30s now, and some people even pushing beyond that. And you can't get there unless you're doing the work at this age, even if it's not necessarily in the spotlight. And
Yeah, 100%. Like, I think just on that point quickly, like it's something that obviously like financially it's really hard sometimes to be able to push through, but like being 23 and people are like, oh, you're still swimming, like, oh, you haven't made an Olympics yet, like why are you still swimming? I'm like, well, yeah, like I wasn't talented naturally younger. I wasn't some super strong person. I've actually got to put the hard yards in now. I didn't have the background as an age group swimmer. I wasn't doing 10 times a week back then. And I think, you know, it's easy for people to disregard you, and it's hard to push through, you know, those comments. But I have a lot more to give, and I know there's a lot of people probably my age out there, or just even a little bit younger, a little bit older, who know the same thing. And it's like, I think we're on the cusp of a generation of swimmers who will be older and will be successful at an older age. And it's just knowing that keep pushing through. You will get there. It's just you got to push through this awkward age of like, I'm not really like an Olympian. Not that you have to be an Olympian, but just for the purpose of the story, like I'm not an Olympian, but like, hey, I'm like at a really high level. And yes, I'm still swimming, but I'm proud that I'm still swimming. Like I haven't given up. And like, yeah, I think that's relevant in a few things, like the awkward age, the middle 20s, if you're not like pursuing a standard career path. I think, yeah, just trust yourself and believe in yourself that, hey, if I work at it, like who cares what people think? Like I'm pursuing this for me, and yeah, you'll get there.
absolutely. And I think that comes around having the right people around you as well, because I know that's definitely something that has been on the forefront of my mind in the last few years, is that when you go through high school, you know, there's a few girls that sort of drop out of sport when you get to VCE or 11 and 12, whether that's HSC, whatever it may be. In those last few years of high school, their focus is study and then going to uni and establishing themselves in their career. But I haven't had that same path, but that doesn't mean it's any less valuable or it's wrong. It's just different.
Yeah. And I think you know, the comment that gets me a lot, they're like, oh, you're still swimming. I'm like, wow, like you really, like, are you still like not swimming? Like I think, you know, it's looking at sport, looking at your career, whatever it is, looking at it and going like, hey, I'm not doing the normal path. Like all that 80% out there who are doing the high school to uni to a degree, and into like the workforce, like good for you. But I actually want to be different. I'm embracing being different. And like, whatever you say to me right now, like, I really don't care, because I don't want to be normal. Like I want to be that like 5% who just enjoys life and goes about it differently. And like, I love the fact that I'm not in an office 9 to 5. Like I love the fact that I haven't conventionally gone through the system. Like I'm out here experimenting, and I'm still being successful. I'm still living living a really good life. And yeah, I just love the fact that I'm not normal. And I think that's something that we should celebrate, is if you're not doing it the traditional way, then like go you, like that's so cool.
Absolutely. And I think that's kind of like this societal rule in not even just sport. It's like, okay, like you finish school, you go to uni, you get a career, you find a partner, you get married, you have kids, and you have to do it all by the age of 30. Like there's just this timeline that gets thrown out so much. And it's like, where has this timeline come from? Why does it exist? Like it's not necessary at all. You can do, I mean, you see so many things now where people are starting careers or wrote a book at 50. Like, who said that you can't do that then? Like, you still have,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if the average age that people living to is in their 80s, why do you need to do it by the time you're 30? You still have all this time. And for me personally, it's like, okay, I'm going to work for the rest of my life. What's the
Yeah,
rush?
exactly. And I think that was the best advice a school teacher ever gave me. They said to me that like, they're talking about like study and like year 11 and 12, and they said to me, which is very rare for a teacher to say this to anyone, I think, because they normally encourage year 11 and 12, but my teacher said to me, they're like, Mo, you've got the rest of your life to study. You've only got a certain amount of time to do sport. Pursue it, do it, you know, everyone can study, everyone can do study, but not everyone has the opportunity to do sport. And I think if you're in sport or if you're in something unique, like you've been given a really cool opportunity, and like take it and run with it. Like I'm a big person, like with opportunity, like if you get given an opportunity, just have a go. You don't know where it's going to lead. So yeah, if you're in something unique, then that's amazing. Like you've been given a pretty cool opportunity there.
Yeah, and there's more and more research coming out. I remember reading something recently and it said that there's no reason why, I think it was track and field, I think it mentioned the specific events, I can't remember what they were exactly, and swimming, where there's no reason why you still can't do PBs at the age of 35.
Yeah, 100%. And like I just think the fact is that we haven't had anyone around long enough to prove the point. And I'm like, well, hey, if I'm going to be the groundbreaker and I'm going to be swimming at 35 and doing PBs, well, then hopefully I'm paving a way for people behind me. And like even things, I think I heard someone say the other day that professional triathlons doing paid maternity leave or something. I'm not sure how true that is, but like if that's the case, like it's because women have been in the sport paving the way for opportunities like this to arise. And if that's where sport needs to go, where women need that opportunity, well then I hope I can be a contributing factor to older sportsmen. So yeah, like who knows what's going to happen now, and it'd be cool to see some older athletes breaking the norm.
Yeah, absolutely. I recently listened, it sounds so weird to say listen to a book, but I feel like that's going to become the norm now.
Yeah.
By an American swimmer, um, Dara Torres. And I'm not sure if many people know who she was. I didn't personally know who she was until I listened to her book. And she medaled at Beijing at the age of 42 after giving birth to her daughter 2 years beforehand with a
Mm.
PB, and was like
Mm.
0.01 off winning gold. Like you can
Yeah.
still do things. There's no reason why you can't. And as you said, it's people just haven't stuck around long enough. They're been in the sport from such a young age, and it's like, okay, I've finished with that chapter of my life now. I'm ready for the next one, whether that's career, family, whatever that may be. But it is really exciting to see where this next generation of athletes is going to go.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited to see where it's going.
Yeah. What are your upcoming goals for swimming short term, long term?
Yeah, so I think with COVID, it's kind of hard to have short-term goals. It's definitely challenging us as athletes. But I think for me, look, I've always stuck around in swimming because of the chance I get to travel with it. I've gotten to see some pretty amazing places with swimming, but obviously COVID's changed that plan. So hopefully I can just keep traveling and seeing and doing the two things that I love. But in terms of specific goals, like I'd love to make a senior team. I'd love to get the chance to be on an ISL team. I'm not a sprinter though, so that one's a little bit more challenging. But I think just for me, there's a few time barriers I wanna cross. And yeah, I want to make sure that I don't mind whether I make the Olympics or not. Like, of course, I'd love to make the Olympics, but for me, it's always been about being the best athlete that I can be, and making sure that I never settle for what is fast. Like in training, if I'm hitting say 65s or 105s for hundreds, it's like, okay, I'm hitting that and that's hard, but there's a point where it's like, okay, can I challenge that more? Can I take that to a new level? Who says 65s is fast? Why not be swimming 62s, 61s? Or, I think for me, it's just keep on challenging and not settling for anything. And then the day that I do decide to settle, I think that's the day I'm going to retire, and, pursue something else. But yeah, I just want to make sure I'm challenging myself, and I'm just taking it wherever the opportunity leads. Swimming's brought me a lot of opportunities outside of sport. I've gotten to meet some pretty incredible people in and out of the sport. I've gotten to meet some pretty cool up and coming athletes. I've gotten to travel the world, and I think for me, I specific goals, yes, I have them, but for me, it's the overall experience of it all that I just want to keep pursuing.
Yeah, Absolutely. I do like to finish our conversations with 3 questions, and you've kind
Yeah.
of answered this first one already, but I'll still ask it anyway. It is, what is something that you are most proud of about yourself?
Um, for me, what I'm most proud of, yeah, I think just being me. I'm proud that I'm happy being me. It's taken a lot of work to be in that place, and I think anyone who is happy with themselves has to have gone on some form of journey, I guess, with that. And I think, yeah, I'm proud that I can walk out the door every morning and be happy with who I am, happy that, I've made this life and, I've got the friends that I've got, but like, yeah, I don't want to be anyone else but myself.
Yeah, absolutely something you should be proud of as well. And I love asking that question because although I get a variety of different answers, majority of people don't talk about sport when they answer that question.
Yeah, 100%. And like, you got those achievements, but I think, yeah, it's that reminder that sport is, it's what you do, it's not who you are. And if you look at it that way, then yeah, well, life's going to be your biggest achievement, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. What is your favorite quote and or the best piece of advice that you've been given?
Um, I'm not someone who lives by quotes, although I've heard a lot of great ones. To me, simply the best bit of advice is knowing that you're loved and you're valued. Um, and if you base everything off that, then I think, everything else can flow from there.
Yeah, I think it's really important that everybody knows that.
Yeah, everyone is loved and valued. Don't forget it.
Yeah. The last question is, any tips for those that are listening?
Um, yeah, I think just if you're listening to this and you're a swimmer, um, yeah, just make sure you love what you're doing. Make sure you take the time to be in the present. And just in life, make sure you enjoy the simple things. Make sure you touch base with family and friends. And if you're not feeling okay, then maybe it is just sending a text. Maybe it's just reaching out to someone. Maybe it's just sitting at the beach doing something you love. But know that like it's okay not to feel okay. I know that's so cliche now, but like I think, like just surround yourself with the idea that like life's going to be up and down and there's going to be down days, but with down days there's going to be up days as well. And yeah, make sure you reach out. Like don't ever suffer in silence. And yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's definitely okay not to feel 100% every day. It's so normal and you're not going through it alone.
Absolutely. And I think although the lows suck, and there's no doubt about that, they do make the highs feel so much higher.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I think it's just embracing the the fullness of life. If you only want to embrace the highs of life, then you're not really living. You've got to be able to embrace it all. And yeah, it does suck, but like I know that some of the biggest moments of growth for me have been in those low points, and I am who I am today in the fullness of me because of those low times I've been through as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining me today and sharing all the life advice that you have. It's been amazing.
Thanks so much for having me, and yeah, I hope everyone got some encouragement out of what we've talked about.
Absolutely.